Good evening, guys, gals, ladies, gentlemen. It's a partly cloudy evening. It's about 5 o'clock, and I did a little bit of plant therapy today. Uh, and to sum it up in a little nutshell, I refreshed my planter boxes, sowed new seeds with intention, gave it some nutrients, gave it some water, and I even spoke positive words to them. And I have planters all around my deck, even out in part of the yard. And something jostled in my thought process, and it could be for myself, it could be for others out there, because I'm not ignorant to think that I'm the only one traversing this life of elevation and personal transformation of identity to a higher version of myself. Does it scare me? Sure. But it doesn't scare me in the sense of fearing it. But rather rather it's a term of being unfamiliar with it, because there's no patternization to it yet. There's no learning of it. But as you progress in your own unique timeline and all of the challenges that pop up, all of the highs, all the lows, all of it is meant to train you to be into that alignment of that higher version that you see yourself as. Whether you dream it, whether you imagine it, whether you sit on a deck and some people call it spacing out. If you can visualize that, there is no realm of possibility that it cannot occur, because you have already used the power of energy of your thought field to imagine it. All you have to do is speak it and feel what it would feel like if that reality is already occurring in the present moment. And hold on to that feeling. Don't take the perspectives of other people telling you you can or can't do something. Don't take the perspectives of other people telling you that that's unrealistic, that's insane, or you're losing grip with reality. Sometimes it appears like you're irrational. The reason why it appears like it to other people is because they have not experienced the walk that you are currently walking in your timeline to your higher elevated self. Okay? I brought up plant therapy, and use the term as you will, whether you see it as a positive term or a negative term. That might be some inner work for you to do. How you see that term, what it means to you, what value you have rendered to it to give it significant meaning in your life. We grow up absorbing energy from everything in our environment. People, places, things, ideas, you name it. And then when we get into what's called social circles, we start sharing that energy, whether it's through our speech, our body language, the way that we observe other people in our environment, and might render an inner thought dialogue of value of that person, of how they are behaving in that moment. And sometimes we label that person with an identification. And so every time we see that person, we only see them in that identification because we rendered that value to them. Whether they heard us or not, whether your friends heard you or not. But just like a plant, You can speak words of life to it, and it will correspond, it will reflect in alignment to that energy that you are feeding to it. You can also speak negative, lower vibrational energy. You can speak frustration, anger, doubt, insecurity, and it will reflect the same thing back to you, telling you you're not skillful enough, or you don't know what you're doing, or you have this desire to do something, but you're not quite equipped with the knowledge or experience to undergo that process. That's just your ego in the inner chatter that's competing for space within you because it's based on something that you have historically lived through versus emerging out of your cocoon of a shell, like a butterfly, into territory that's unfamiliar. And it can get rocky. Your boat can rock on some stormy waters. But the challenge in that is to stay firm in what you believe of your imagination that has yet to come into your present moment. Dress the part, don the clothes. What would the speech be like? How would you hold your posture? When you introduce yourself, how do you introduce yourself? At that moment, when you first meet someone that you've never met before, and they've never had stories about you to have a biased opinion, it's a grandstand opportunity to sell the identity that you desire to embody. Whether it's an identification of a successful business owner, whether it's a identification of a successful relationship coach, whatever is in your mindscape that you decide, I have yet to experience this, and I'm not worried about it, I'm not concerned about it, but if I can imagine it, and if I can visualize it, the potentiality already exists. I just have to claim it. Now, some of y'all might think this is far-fetched, that life doesn't work that way. Life works like this. And you're going to tell me your narrative. You're going to tell me your story with your identification, characteristics, personalities, what you have gone through. Telling me all of the reasons why something can't happen, why something doesn't work some way. Because you have formulated that opinionated belief and reinforced it. And then it's projected into your environment, and so you keep living that cycle. The only way to break a cycle of living that you are experiencing in life is to introduce something new, a new way of thought, a higher perspective, a higher elevated set of emotions, feelings, sensory input and output. Our eyes, our nose, our ears, our capacity to vocalize our speech, those are all external sensories, okay? That's how you're able to readily engage your environment in an instant way, chalked up to, that's right, communication. But you can communicate with anything in nature. The way that you are communicating with things in nature is you are vibrating your energy and matching that energy with your words, with your thoughts, and your emotion in synchronicity way, in an alignment. But what if I said nothing in life is permanent? You live a lifeline, you experience life, you grow in life, you learn in life, you overcome challenges in life, but in that lifeline, there's always a transition period, right? In our unique timeline, like in my unique timeline, I know I have met people, and those people have exceeded the timeline I am living. I don't know what their mission was. I don't know what their purpose of living within the bisecting of the timeline that I am currently walking. But their purpose is their secret. It's their sacredness. Sometimes we get attached to the physical aspect of people and how they shared their energy with us. And we give ourselves into lower vibrational, and I'm not saying don't feel it. You have to feel these emotions in order for you to appreciate the other spectrum of the frequency of these emotions, okay? When someone has exceeded the timeline, transitioned, passed away, elevated out of their cocoon, okay? I believe that everyone that is currently still walking in this timeline is in a cocoon, and they are growing and growing and growing, learning in this cocoon, this vehicle, this body that we use to traverse life, okay? And at some point, we exceed the capacity of this form and emerge into a newer form, a higher version form, all right? And we will go through series of growths, setbacks, growths, setbacks. But in that capacity, no one can tell you where you are going because you are living your lifeline. The only person who can tell you where you are going or what you are doing with your life is you. Everyone else is only just giving you a perspective that you have the option and choice whether you're going to adopt that perspective, that evaluation, or choose a different one. You are not required to live life a specific way. There's no doctrine. There's no set of rules or guidelines of how you traverse life other than do no harm to yourself, do no harm to others. When you keep that in mind, your emotional compass, your mental compass, your energy you share with other people, whether it's in exchange or at a distance of a rendering of value, you share that energy. And you have the choice whether you want to share a frustration of energy, an anger of energy, a joy of energy, a happiness of energy. You can choose to grieve or choose to celebrate the sacredness of time that was afforded with the opportunity of meeting someone and having them, that's right, being grateful for having them in your life, expressing gratitude, because time is sacred, plain and simple. Time is not a demand. Time is not something that you demand of somebody. Time is a sacredness. And it's not about religion. It's not about a faith circle. It's not even about what background or belief that you grew up in. Just as precious as your breath that exudes out of you, just as precious as the blood that flows within you, your time is also sacred. How you use it and in what manner you use it as when you interact with your environment is a boomerang effect. It all comes back to the source. If you are the source rendering that energy and someone else is not absorbing it, it's coming back to you. And if someone does absorb it and they take the initiative to transmute that energy, it's still going to come back to you, but in a different form, a different energetic vibration. Be mindful how you share your energy. Be mindful who you are engaging with. If you want to be surrounded by like-minded persons that uplift you instead of bringing you down, surround yourself with those like-minded persons. Break out of that familiarity and see the light shine in a new way. Light, in this instance, renders the meaning of higher knowingness. To know thyself is to be enlightened of yourself. And everything that, all the power that you have welled up within you. You eat food as a sustenance, right? You drink water as a survival sustenance, yes? When you use something, it becomes waste and is released. When you release, you have to replenish, yes? Okay. You're also an absorber of sunlight. So you grow just like a plant. You receive input and energy just like a plant. And you are going to reflect what energy you have absorbed from someone offering that energy. And they're probably going to be bewildered or puzzled why now you are feeling the way that they are feeling. An empath, that's right, empathic by nature. If you are really in tune with how energy really works, you will pick up the vibrational signal of others before they even utter a word. But understand what is your energy and what is someone else's energy that you are supplying, okay? Sometimes you have to sift through that dirt. Just like a plant that grows through dirt. It's got to go through the dirt in order for it to grow. It's got to get sunlight. It's got to get water. It's got to get food, nutrients. Just like a plant. You sow seeds in the soils of other people, and you receive seeds in your own soil, your internal soil, that grow, and they become your characteristics, your traits, your personalities, your identification, the way you conduct yourself, the way you show up in the world, and the way that you communicate with one another. Your level of communication Have you ever noticed unhinged persons will transmute their communication from their uniqueness to pacify their audience to understand them, but then lose the authenticity of that capacity of communication, and it becomes watered down just so that their audience understands what they're saying? What if I told you that if you were being true and authentic to your manner of communication, and you shared what you have learned as you traverse this life, and what elevations you are exceeding, and you give your message, whether it's social media, whether it's on a stage in front of an audience, whether it's in a music industry, or it's a lunch break, and you curate your message with true authenticity, that your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and your emotional compass is all in alignment. It doesn't matter if it appears vague to the audience in the moment, because you've planted seeds and you have that firm belief that those seeds that have been planted, they will mature in their own given season. Never rush the process. A plant does not grow overnight. It grows through a gradual process. You grow. Since you were born, you grow through a gradual process. Give that which needs time its duration. And when I use time, I'm not talking about time as in a 24-hour clock. I'm saying time as in season, as duration. When you give what is necessary to grow, encouragement, empowerment, a shoulder to lean on when someone is in their lower vibration, don't drop your vibration to admit to that person that you understand how they are feeling. Keep your vibration at your neutrality process, and then raise your vibration, and they will mimic that same vibration. It may not be in the moment. Sometimes it is, but it may not be always in the moment. It may be a day, 2 days, 3 days, and they probably forgot that you elevated your own emotions to bring them up into a higher vibration. They still will go through their process. You ever heard the 3-day process? Grievance, sadness, depression, and some people will stay in that because it's familiar to them. The passing of a loved one, in some religious beliefs and cultures, they believe that the internal body would still be around for 3 days before it moved on to wherever it moves on to, right? I can't tell you one way or another. It's not my job to. But what if that 3-day time frame wasn't for you to forget someone, but it was so that you would come back up into your neutral set point, your neutral uniqueness? I leave that in your hands. I don't know your story. Some I know stories of, and I know narratives. But your story is your story. What you've gone through, what you're currently going through, your gray skies, your stormy nights, your sunny days, your cool breeze, your comfort. After a while, when you get too comfortable, your higher self comes back and tries to basically shake you awake. Hey, you've been saying you want help. You've been saying there's got to be more to life than this. And you're using the spectrum of this, of what you have experienced so far. And you're saying with the power of your words, don't downplay the power of your words, because just like spells, you can, even self-talk, even in a joking manner, you can cast spells on yourself. And I'm not talking about witchcraft or anything like that. It's called spelling for a reason. When you speak your words, you enlace your vibrational energy with those words. And the words that are shared with other people receive that same vibrational signal, whether they understand it in the moment or not. So when you share your energy, just like talking to a plant, be mindful of the energy you are sharing. If your audience is walking away from you, it's not that your message is the problem. It's that whatever energy is being supplied with that message, they don't want to absorb, because it's starting to bring them down from their neutrality. Doesn't mean they don't appreciate you. Doesn't mean that they don't understand that you're going through something. It doesn't mean that they're ignoring how you are feeling. They are validating that you have a right to feel that way. But they are also showing that sometimes taking a step away is healthy in a relationship, whether it's intimate, whether it's a friendship, a working relationship, or it's just a stranger. A relationship is just that, how you are relating to the person, place, or thing. You can have a relationship with anything, okay? As you traverse life, take inventory of the energy that you supply and determine for yourself, through the way that you have rendered values and meanings, is this energy breathing life into someone, or is it choking off life? I leave the ball in your court. Thanks for walking with me. I'm spending some time in nature. It's been wet and rainy this week, so in my lawn care business, work's been a little bit slow because of that unpredictable weather. But you know what? I find it as the universe offering a sense of a break. You go running head start into something, you're pushing full throttle, and the universe says it's time for a break. And in lawn care and landscaping, if it's raining, you can't really do much. Even the day after, lots of properties around here retain water. You can't really cut. And some people go out there trying to cut to earn that extra buck, but I'm sorry, safety is a higher priority than trying to cut wet, soggy grass. Anyways, this is a day of rest, just relaxation. Took the kid for some sushi today. Came back, enjoyed some time, did some plant therapy, and I wanted to ask, how's your mornings and setting your intentions been coming along? Have you been setting your intentions and bringing your focus back to that intention, even though your external environment tries to bring you back into your old patterns, old ways of beliefs? And at night when you are resting your head, just before going to sleep? Are you giving gratitude for the day that you have been blessed with? Another day of learning, another day of growth, another day of challenges, another day of precious air, breathing into yourself. Another conversation with a person, a hobby that elevated yourself to a sense of enjoyment, happiness, peace. Remember, peace is not something that someone can take from you. Peace, if you are not in a sense of peace, it's because you have given your peace away. And just as well as you can give it away, you can call it back to you. Peace is one thing that you have when you come to this world. Love is one thing that you have when you come to this world. You have a choice to express love in all of your energetic ways, or you could have the choice to express criticality, judgment, rendering values of how you use your words, your conduct. Just because something appears a certain way does not mean it is in fact that which is occurring, okay? Sometimes we very seldom actually understand others. Very much like we don't really half the times understand ourselves. Instead, we're living narratives, identities, and belief structures of what other people have told us that we are, who we should be, what we should do. But that's their story, and we adopted it. And then we shared that story with other people, and we keep living it. I encourage you, write one thing down with full intention. Don't worry about anything else that's going on. Nothing else matters in this moment, okay? In this moment, nothing else matters. Write down one thing that you want to experience that you have yet to experience in life. Tap your heart when you ask yourself that. And whatever flows, write it down. When you put pen to paper, it's just like speaking it into the universe and creating it.